How's everybody doing? Today is March 19th. I wanted to get on here and kind of go over my Instagram. Social media wise, I put a lot of information out on Instagram. You can find me at Who Mike Fitness, as you can see here. I'm also on Instagram, on Snapchat at Who Mike. I post a lot of stuff on Snapchat just because I get a little bit more personal with everybody. Tend to be a little bit more open about everything that I do, and it's just easier for me to Snapchat things. But getting into it, like I said, I want to go over the week. So I started the week last week with this dinner. This was a grouper yellowtail snapper with some chicken, and then I topped it with some rice noodles, zucchini, kale, tomatoes, carrots, red onion, and asparagus. Now the rice noodles are really good because you can get a lot of carbs in with those, and they're not that filling. So you can get a high amount of your carb intake for the day. But you can look at this and see what I cooked. I I've never been a chef. I've never worked in a kitchen. I've just cooked a lot of food through my bodybuilding. I post a lot of pictures of food. I post food because I eat a lot of food. Why do I eat a lot of food? I have to get big. To get big, you need food. And so that is that. Next one. This is a buddy of mine that I'm helping get ready for a show. This is Brennan. I did his first show with him. I helped him with his first show, and we did a show in Daytona. He was a heavyweight at that time, and I think he was 24. I believe he was 24. He weighed in when we got him dialed in for the show. He weighed in at 216. He ended up taking that show. As you can see, the dude's got amazing muscle maturity for being so young. But you know, he's got a lot of genetics on his side. I think that he is. Native American and Samoan, I believe. I know he's got some Native American in him. If you've ever seen Indians, man, they're huge if they really put it work in. We're going to do the Southeastern USA. He's going to be competing. He's right now he's about 248. We're going to put him through a hard little cut and try to get rid of a little bit of fat so we can see what we need to do over these next 5 months. But he will be coming in as a tank. Let me see if I can pull him up real quick and show you some of the stuff. I mean, the guy is seriously he's just naturally just a freak. This was him after his first show. He's just got muscle bellies galore. It's going to be a problem. He's going to be stepping in the super heavyweights, and like I told him, he's got to be going against the masters. A lot of older guys who's taken 20 years to get to the amount of muscle density that he's got. So it will be against him. I mean, he's definitely not going to have an easy ride, but I think he's going to beat the shit out of everybody and really impress them. So this is my buddy Brennan, and that is where we are at with him. Rolling into this next one, plant protein. Over the last 3 weeks now, I've been really focused over the last 3 weeks on plant-based proteins, on plants in general. I've been watching some information on it. I've been doing a lot of research, and it's just a lot of good qualities in the plants. One that I do want to touch on this is down here is the spirulina in the bottom right corner. This one right here is amazing. Just off a quick tip, I only try to do things in certain variables. I only try to add certain things so that I know specifically if I got a result off of that. So I didn't go gung-ho and put all of these proteins into my diet. And honestly, asparagus doesn't have that much protein, or does romaine. But spirulina per tablespoon is 7 grams of protein. That means if you're doing a quarter cup, doing 4 tablespoons, you're getting 28 grams of protein. And the fact of it is that is 100% digestible. So when you get 28 grams of protein of that, you're getting it. And so that's good. This is a little bit about me. I don't know if you've ever seen me before. Probably not. Maybe. But this is me right here. One thing I want to point out with this is I have a pump. I have not had much food on this day and up to this point. As you can see, on another note, sodium gives me some of the gnarliest pump ever, along with citrulline, leucine, and a couple grams of arginine, and about 50 grams of carbs. My disclaimer, the reason I say this is because just because you watch anybody on social media or anywhere, that does not mean that just because it works for them, it works for you. So if you are 250 pounds and you're trying to lose weight and you've got like 40% body fat, I'm not really suggesting that you eat sodium to give you a pump. That's probably one of the last things you need. So you just need to understand this has worked well for me. Right now, currently, my macros are 175 grams of protein, and on 3 days out of the week, it's actually a little bit lower. It's probably around 100 to 125. 150 to 175 on carbs, depending on the days that I go, and 50 grams of fat. I'm keeping my, like I said, my plants high. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to switch everything up. Um, this is just going a little bit into my meals. I'm currently on my week 6 of my trial phase. I'm going through an 18-week program right now, and I'm on week 7. Actually, this a week ago I was on week 6. And like you see, I'm trying to consume 50% of my plants throughout the day. I have not lost size. Anything that you have ever thought about plants, and in my opinion, if you're a bodybuilder, you lifted weights, and you've got to eat protein and sweet potatoes and this and that, to an extent. I mean, if you're 120 pounds and you're trying to gain 30 pounds, you're probably not going to want to eat a bunch of plants. But it has its place, and I strongly suggest you looking into it, investing in it, some time into some plants, and seeing what you find. I've been blown away. This is where I live. Take a minute for you to see this beautiful. This is the Gulf of Florida. I stay down in Sarasota, and as you can see, beautiful. This is our friend Amanda and her son Jace. They were down for the week, and so it was a really good time. And next, we've got meals. This is just a typical meal, and as you can see, there's a comparison here. You've got chicken, sweet potatoes, steaks, or fish and sweet potato, eggs, steak, and sweet potatoes. It's actually two over. With this one, boys and girls, show prep. This was for me. This was when I was a middleweight. That means I was weighing 173 pounds at the time. I took this with me down to West Palm Beach for my show. As you can see, all of these meals right here in the Tupperwares are meals that I'm taking leading up to the show, leading up to the weigh-in, and then going throughout the night. So this one's at 7:30 the morning of the show. This one's at 11 p.m. the night of the show, or the night of the weigh-ins. You weigh in on Friday at about 5 p.m. So this was meal 4 at 1 o'clock on my way down there. This was meal 5. This was at 3 o'clock. We just pulled up. This was meal 6 at 5:30. This was 30 minutes after weigh-in. As soon as I got done weighing in, I got that. Then I had another meal, meal 7. This was at 7:30 p.m. Then I had meal 8. That was at 11 p.m. And then this one was at 3 a.m. on meal 9. So all of these meals went in order. And that was me loading. I was below my cutoff weight. So I had these meals to get in. I weigh before I go to check-in to make sure that I weigh. I did weigh enough. I was good. So after that, I did this meal. Then I did this one. Then I did this one. Then this one. And as you can see, it's pretty high amounts. I mean, this meal 6 was only sweet potatoes. This one was white potatoes and a fish. Potatoes and fish and potatoes and steak and potatoes and steak and potatoes. So a shitload of potatoes. Had a lot of steak left over because if you've ever competed for a show and you're doing it out of town, Friday night you do a weigh-in, Saturday you do the show, Saturday evening you do the show, and then you're probably going to be too tired to go home, so you're going to need to stay the night again. I'm very cheap and I'm very cost effective, so it's a lot better for me to buy and take 3 steaks as you see here versus going to a restaurant like I did my first show and spending $15 each meal. This was a lot better. I also have some white fish in the corner, had some baked potatoes if I needed it, some sweet potatoes, and white rice. The worst thing you can do is run out of stuff. That's the worst thing you can do. A little bit of stuff that I talked about here, this peanut butter. This is the peanut butter that Publix makes that is made grounded up. There is absolutely no salts, no additives, no nothing. So it is a very good peanut butter for you to have. These were some brown rice cakes that I had. They're a little bit longer. These are just regular rice cakes, and then Pedialyte. Pedialyte is a real version of Gatorade. At the time, I did not work with Advocare. I didn't have Rehydrate. I had Pedialyte. And, you can drink 2 or 3 ounces of this Pedialyte, and depending on how lean and how good everything is on the day of the show, you'll definitely see some results in vascularity. Um, Now this one was about fasting. This was about me. One thing that I've done that I don't see a lot of people doing is fasting. I do intermittent fasting. There's a time and a place for it, and that's the way I do it. And depending on what my goal is depending on when I use my fast. I tend to use the mirror for the fasting. I tend to look at myself, and if I've eaten a lot and I've gotten kind of bloated, I'll do it. If I'm feeling sluggish, I'll do it. If I feel like my body has been in a routine for too long, I'll do it. And it's just a good reset. Also, on the flip side, if you're bulking and you've been consuming, 3,500 calories or 5,000 calories a day for a week or two, I don't care who you are, eventually you're going to hit a wall. Your body is going to say, to hell with you, I'm done with this, I do not want any food anymore, and it's going to stop. And so the good thing with the fasting is it allows your stomach to take a break. You have to think, imagine if there was people in there in your stomach and they were working, right? I mean, you've got them working all day long. The only time they don't work is when you're sleeping. And for me, when I was bulking, I was eating when I sleep. I would wake up to eat and then go back to sleep in the middle of the night. So my stomach was always working. So to give your stomach a break, you allow your body to completely reset. You allow it to help heal other areas because it doesn't have to spend that time working there. So that's a good thing about the fasting. And this will show you a little bit of how it went. Last night I was 200.8. This morning I was 198.6. Right now I'm 198. Night I was 200.8, and that was at midnight. I've been fasting since 9 p.m. last night. It's 2:40 now, so I'm going on 17 hours and 40 minutes. I'm about to break my fast, and I'm going to show you how. With all of this, so much goodness. Why am I doing it? My body's been resting for 17 hours. It has not been digesting or doing anything. So it's completely empty, and it's been repairing itself. Now I'm about to flood it with all of these vitamins and minerals, and in 15 minutes it's going to go through everything I need. That's going to heal my body, repair it, and everything. There she is. So serene. One, two. That's not. Now, another thing I want to touch on is the juicer. I have a Breville juicer, and it is a centrifugal one. There's two different types of juicers. There's centrifugal, and there's a masticator. Masticator is, and if you didn't know, that's the medical term of what you do when you chew food, mastication. So a masticator is going to actually chew the juice up. It's going to grind it up a little bit more versus where a centrifugal one is going to actually spin and rotate. Uh, they work at a higher speed, so you have to watch which ones you get because if the centrifugal juicer goes too fast, it'll actually heat up and kill some of the macronutrients and vitamins that are in the plant that you're juicing. So a masticator is a better one in sense of wheatgrass. It's a better for wheatgrass, and then it's better just. I think it's a better one overall. I'm not the most. I'm not a guru for juicing by no means. I actually got this Breville because it had different speed settings on it, and it explained to you on the settings which, whether it needed to be hard vegetables, soft fruit, whether it was citrus. So it worked out a little bit better for me. And another thing I want to touch on, like I said, I'm doing this plant-based thing. The fact that my stomach was empty for 18 hours, and instead of me going and doing like I typically did, which would have been getting like 2 or 3 giant New York slices of pizza, I put in vitamins and minerals, macronutrients. You need to Google macronutrients, and then you need to spend a lot of time on really understanding what they are and what they do. If you are buying supplements or vitamins and they're making you feel amazing, just realize that those vitamins are mimicking the vegetables and fruit that you're supposed to be eating throughout the day. Quit going to supplements and start going to what God put on this earth for you. You will see a difference. Going back to this was the picture I was trying to show a few minutes ago. It's the same thing. There's nothing that changes on these guys. It's steak, eggs, sweet potato, and I'll do that, and I'll eat these meals consistently because that's how I find out if that is working for me or not. Now in the back, what you see here is digest these. That is some product placement for your ass. I do not get out and I do not sell supplements and I do not try to push it. One, from the biggest reason is it annoys the hell out of me that the entire world is trying to do that now. And for the most part, none of them know what the hell they're talking about. Nobody is in depth and actually takes the time to research like I do, or, well, like I do. I can't speak for other people. And the one thing I'll tell you is that this isn't even a big seller in the company. The bigger sellers are other things because they are, in what I would like to say, they're easily sellable. They're what people think that they need instead of what they really need. The digesties is what they really need, but nobody will tell you that because in my opinion, I don't think you're going to make the money off of it. So people aren't going to sell it. If I can't make $10 off of this bottle, why would I do that when I could sell you something else and make $10? Again, I don't like it. But what I will tell you is this bad boy is one of the baddest things that you can get. It's a digestive enzyme. If you don't know about digestive enzymes, you're about to learn something. This is probably going to be one of the best things you can ever learn, in my opinion, because it's one of the best things that I ever learned, and I've noticed a difference immediately. I take one of these digestive enzymes every single time I have a meal. If it's got meat in it, I take it. As soon as we cook food, as soon as you put meat in the pan, on the grill, in the oven, it is going to lose its enzymes. They're going to die. You're going to lose the digestive properties of that meat. Now, we are supposed to eat the rawest, rarest forms of meat because then you keep those nutritious properties and the enzymes. So by me taking this digestive enzyme every time I eat, I now have the enzymes that were supposed to have been in there in the first place, helping me digest my food. I don't go to the bathroom as much when I'm eating these now. I digest my food better. I've looked better. You just have to look at me right now and look at me 2-3 months ago, and you will see the difference that it's made. The digestive enzymes are amazing. You're not going to feel something like a pre-workout. You're not going to get a pump like you would off of a citrulline or a nitric oxide supplementation, but you are going to get something from it. If nutrition is so critical, why would you not want to digest the majority of the food you can? Start focusing on getting things that are going to help you digest food, and you'll see a huge difference, leaps and bounds. If you're not digesting all your food, then what do you think you're doing when you're trying to lose weight? Take one of these and see how much weight you'll lose. And if you, going back to this, if you need help and you need more information, then I will sell it to you, and then I'll sit down and actually talk about it. But I just don't go out pushing things out into the world. It's just not my style. Going on to this is a recap. This is a scale. This was actually just pictures that I tracked. I wanted to track what was going on during my fasting. As you see, I was 208 when I went to bed. Like I said in the video, I was 198 when I woke up. Going to bed, I peed again. Or going to bed, I weighed the same as when I woke up. I peed one last time, and there we go. The pictures got scrambled up, and for some reason it didn't edit it when I fixed them on my computer. But I peed one more time, and I was 174. I woke up, I was 198. And then I was 197. 195, I'm sorry. Then, after I ate, I was 196. I had a meal and 16 ounces of water. But anyways, going back to this actually worked out because I was confused as hell trying to break this down for you. But that is exactly the point that I was trying to make. People get so caught up on the scale. And then where is it that I said, people say you don't need a scale. Why? It's your own weight. Own it. That's the biggest thing that I don't understand. People say, oh, don't use a scale. Don't use a scale. You know why they tell you that? Because mentally, you're not strong enough. You need somebody like me to tell you, you need to grow the hell up. You put on all that extra weight. I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me. If you are uncomfortable with the scale, if you're uncomfortable with seeing that number on the scale, then you need to do something. But this is the thing. Nobody's ever told you that it's okay. Okay? Nobody's ever told you that because you see 320 pounds on the scale, that's okay. And nobody's ever told you that when you start going on this journey, the scale is going to move up and down. Okay, the scale is going to go from 320. Hell, it might go 314 the next day. You might lose 6 pounds on your first day. But then guess what? If you're a female, in a week, you're going to have your menstrual cycle. And guess what? You're going to have water retention, right? So the scale is going to go from 316 to 322. Now what happens? You see that and you say, oh man, hell, damn, screw this. I've done gained 2 pounds. Oh, I started a week ago and I'm not losing weight. I'm gaining weight. What you need to understand is that things are going to go up and down and they're not going to work, okay? You are consuming food and consuming water, okay? A gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. A gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. And everybody is going to tell you, if they're smart, they're going to say, you need to drink a gallon of water a day. Don't you understand? You're putting in 8 pounds of water inside of your body? Now, you're peeing, but we don't know how much you're peeing. You're not putting a measuring cup down there and seeing how much is coming out. So you're not totaling for that for the day. So just understand that you're putting in some water and some water's coming out. Now at the same time, you're putting in some food and some food's coming out. You're pooping, right? And you're putting in some food, and then you're going and you're walking around your neighborhood, or you're going to the gym and you're working out, right? Or you're working in a factory, or there's all these different variables, but you are using energy. The food we eat is our energy. Right? So don't let it get too confusing, and don't let people try to scare you off and make you think that this is something bigger than what it is. It's very simple. You just have to have somebody direct you and guide you and show you how, because it is going to scale. It is going to change. You just got to, you've got to learn how to use the scale. You've got to learn how to understand it, and you've got to realize how valuable it is. The one thing that I tell everybody that I work with is you need to get a notepad and a scale. And you need to write your weight down every morning when you wake up, before you pee. Before you pee, weigh yourself, go home, check it, right? And every day. And I don't want you to get discouraged from Monday to Sunday. I want you to write down that weight every single morning for a week. And then I want you to do it again. And I want you to do it again. It's called documentation, people. When a scientist does a science project, they don't just do it willy-nilly and not track what they're doing. They track the variables. Hey, we put this in. Hey, we took this out. Hey, this did this. Well, why did it do this? Let's go back and look at our paper. Well, we added this, and so that did that. It's the same thing with your body. It's just a big experiment. You need to find out. So you put your scale on. Okay, boom, boom, boom. At the end of the week, I was supposed to have lost 3 pounds. I only lost 1. Well, let's see. Well, I lost a pound every day here, but come Thursday, I gained weight. Well, what did I do Wednesday? Nothing. Well, what did I do Tuesday? Oh, remember we went out and we had those nachos as an appetizer, and then I got that for dinner? Well, that's probably your variable. See, and that's where you need to start tracking stuff. If you don't track stuff, it's just going to make it harder for you. This, finishing the night out strong. Look at some banging food. Some Copper River salmon sockeye. Sockeye salmon, banging. Now, the thing I want to touch on is this. Now, you see that green, that dark green, that's the chlorophyll in that spirulina. And that is amazing. You can just taste it. This is going back to my third show. And what I wanted to touch on with this is the importance of timing. Timing for a show, now this is just for competitors, people competing. You need to understand that the timing on your show is critical. And working closely with your coach is critical and imperative. This is not the time to miss a meal at 3:30 p.m. when you're supposed to get that meal in. This is not the time to get busy at work and not drink the amount of water you were supposed to get. This is not the time to not be doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Exfoliating for your tanning, getting your prepping ready, making sure all of your clothes are packed for the show, making sure you got sheets for the hotel room so they don't charge you for getting tanning stuff all over their sheets. I mean, timing is important on peak week. But what I want to touch on is you've got to be ready. You see me, I was ready. I looked like this 3 weeks before the show, not a week before the show, 3 weeks before the show. If you're not ready, it's not going to matter, okay? Because that's what I want to talk to. That's what I want to talk to you about. everybody thinks that this peak week, and they hold off for peak week, or they have a trainer who's didn't hold up their end of the bargain and dial them in right, and then they start lying to them because they don't want to get in their head and mess them up. And they say, "Well, just wait, I got some tricks up my sleeve. I got some tricks up my sleeve." Man, if you had tricks up your sleeves, why the fuck didn't you bring them out then? I mean, why are you bringing them out now? That's bullshit. The tricks up your sleeve should have been started 12 weeks out. Okay, and that would be, if I'm going to touch on anything, that's the one thing I would touch on. You prepping 8 weeks for a show, it's not long enough. You need to add 2 to 4 weeks. Whatever you think it's going to take you to get ready, and your coach says, I would probably do an extra 2 weeks. That's definitely what I would do. Um, but it does matter, and there's a different path depending on how you and your coach decides. Don't start down one and switch to another, though, because you can get conflicting real quick. And what I mean by that is different coaches do things different ways. Some don't use sodium, some do. Some don't water load, some do. Some don't do fish. Some think that fish is the only thing that anybody can ever eat. But there's a reason that they do it that way. And typically it's because it worked for them. But there's a rhyme and reason to it. If you start doing what this person's doing, and your coach tells you he wants you water loading, and you're drinking 4 gallons of water a day, but then this coach tells you that you need to do some Lasix or aldactone or some type of diuretic, and now you use that, it can completely throw everything off. So you need to know exactly what you're doing, and you need to stick with what your coach says. And hey, man, if your coach is wrong, that's on him. He owns that. Okay, so you just let him do that. But this was about me, and so I'll summarize on this. What had happened was, the reason I took this picture, I sent this to my coach. I was 2 hours off from coming completely filled. I was filled out. My legs were a little bit soft, but I was pretty filled out. I got in my car to head back to the house after prejudging, and then I saw this, and I thought, what the hell? I'm in the East Coast. I'm in Florida. He's in Tennessee, Central Time Zone. We cut my water out. We were off an hour. We forgot about the time zone. So as I said, literally an hour can make a difference. And so that's what that. Going back, let me see a couple of things I wrote. It's different every time. Every prep you do is going to be different. You can write everything down and track it, and it can make it easier on the next prep. But just because you consumed 50 grams of carbs this prep doesn't mean that you're going to consume it next prep. You might need more, you might need less. Every time our bodies change because we did have different lean body mass, so our metabolism is going to be different. The rate that everything's going is going to be different. So you just really want to watch that. Spices. Here's some super spices. There's only 2 that I am working with right now. Like I said, I only use a couple of variables, and the one is ginger and the other one is turmeric. Turmeric I've seen a lot of good things from. It helps me with my inflammation, and it helps me with feeling sore. The ginger is really good. It's been helping with bloating. Now there's a lady, and her name is Elizabeth Lopez, and you should look her up. You should add her. You should follow her. Do whatever you need to. Elizabeth Lopez, Lyzabeth. She was a trainer I started following about 3 or 4 years ago. She's holistic, nutritious, and she's got a big butt. But the thing that I liked about her is she's not a typical skinny blonde chick. She's a very thick girl, and she understands that everybody's different. And she's been a great inspiration to me and somebody that I've followed. She actually has like a flat belly smoothie that I'm going to be doing soon, and it actually does. It couples a couple of these. It's the ginger, the turmeric, because turmeric has curcumin in it, and then I think she does like a lemon and a couple of other things. But it's honey and then a couple of other things. But it's basically just a digestive enzyme drink to get her day going in the morning. But she says it helps keep with the bloating in the stomach. So give her a check. She's amazing. Bodybuilding. This is the thing. This is easy. This 90 minutes is easy. This is the hard part. This fridge is the hard part. This is so much harder than what people realize. And what I just basically summarized in this, I'm going to cut this because it's been a while, but you can go through and read on my Instagram. But, basically this is what everybody thinks. Oh, Arnold was big, workout. Nobody realizes the food. No, because you don't take pictures of that. People take pictures of them working out because sex sells. My food doesn't sell. That's why I don't have a lot of followers. Pictures of my food, nobody cares about. Reading my stuff with substance doesn't matter. But I take a picture of me with some dick skin and some big shoulders and biceps, and I'll get 60 likes, I'll get 100 likes. But posting something good, I don't. So that was basically it. This is about injuries and issues. I recently, a year ago, realized that down here, my L6, about where that band is fused to my pelvic bone. That means that my spinal cord has connected to my right pelvic bone. So I have a gap over here from here to here, right? And that's the gap from my spine and my pelvic because this has pushed over and because this has pulled together. So I have no gap here and I have a big gap here, which means when I do a deadlift down here, my butt stops right here. It pulls and it's caused me a problem in my hamstring and glute tie-in. And it's caused problems from the bottom up. I mean, the whole posterior chain has been messed up because of it. And so what I was talking about is, I had to go to doctors to find this out. I've had to do some active release therapy, some deep tissue massage, some Graston, and I'm now currently just having to make adjustments to live with it and deal with it. There's no breaking that up. I mean, it's just there. And so this just explains some of the things that I've had to do. And everybody's different. And so that's the thing that I wanted to talk about here. If you have an injury, I will go to this. If you're struggling with a body part responding, it can be numerous things. Form and muscle connection, form and mind muscle connection being the main common culprits. But if you've beaten those things into the ground and something's not firing or feeling right, then you got to start connecting the dots. You might see that doing an overhead tricep extension or a skull crusher that you can't perform, but possibly could be because you've grown your shoulders and there's a little hole in your shoulder column where your nerves go from your neck, your spinal cord, down into your arms. When muscle builds up, as you can see, I got a lot of dense muscle right here. This can start pressing on the nerves and then compressing those and then causing issues. So it might not be so much that you can't do a tricep thing, but it might be that when you go over your head, that when you lift this arm, it presses into that nerve column and it cuts off and it's causing pain. So maybe if you was to open up your shoulder more and you was to get some work right here, it would alleviate the problem down here. Just a thought. And as you can see, the boomerang, yes, the lats are fully respected. Finally, this was a score that I got yesterday. I went to my local store, Geraldson's Farmers Market. Everything's fresh. I mean, like I literally see them picking this every time I go out there. Fresh spinach, fresh kale, fresh butter lettuce, fresh green onion, Florida onion, fresh broccoli. So the last thing I'm going to leave, last tidbit. Did you know that the day, let's say Monday, they picked this off the plant, this banana. Did you know that by Friday it's lost 40% of its nutritious value? That means that it's lost almost 40%, almost half of the fibrous content in this banana. 35 grams of carbs is typically for a medium apple, right? Simple sugars. You lose 40% of that. 40% of this. All that goodness in kale, you lose that. Think about it. Think about when you go to Walmart, how long it took for these bananas to come from Peru on a boat. Probably took a week. Then how long does it sit in the back before they put it out in the aisles? Then how long does it sit on your counter before it turns brown like this? So the better, fresher produce you can get, as well as cattle or anything else, the quicker it was picked, killed, cut, ready, and in your mouth, the better. You can find farm-to-table restaurants, eat there. If you can get fresh produce, get it and eat it as fresh as possible. I promise you'll see a difference. So anyways, that's it. This took a little bit longer, but this is my first one. I hope I didn't talk too long. It wasn't too long-winded, but I feel like that was a pretty good information and that I can try to go. I mean, as you can see, I've got a lot of good stuff, and I just and I put these things and I go really in depth, but I just don't know how many people hear it or, understand it or want to go in depth. And, and I'm always here willing to help. So if there's anything that I can do, let me know. If you've got any questions, please comment below. If you like this, obviously, like it. And let me know. Let me know if this was too long, too short, if you want me to continue doing this every week. And if you'd like to reach out to me, just go ahead and message me. You can find me anywhere. Here's my YouTube. So I will talk to y'all later on. Y'all have a good week.